name is Danae Pinkney, and I'm a 2023 Fun for Teacher Fellow. I was able to travel to Ghana, Benin, and Togo on my journey in my fellowship. We started out our travels in Accra, Ghana. There we were able to visit some of the slave castles where people were kept and sheltered and then eventually brought over to the United States and other various parts of the transatlantic slave trade. So through my fellowship, I was actually able to get a better grasp on my own personal identity, going through the slave castles and feeling the heaviness and the weight of what I was experiencing, the remnants of the past that were still in the walls. I was so shocked by the fact that I felt empowered. We were also able to just see some different parts of Africa that we weren't really as familiar with. So we were able to see the rainforest, and then we spent some time visiting some local schools. We were able to go out and see some of the natural landscapes. We climbed up on a giant umbrella rock, saw some waterfalls, so it was a really beautiful experience there. In Togo, we spent some time going horseback riding, and then we also were able to see cathedrals. And then in Benin, we were able to see the Nide. Gambie is a village that is built on the water, and it has this beautiful story about people seeking shelter away from the slave trade and trying to find hope, and they find hope in this almost hopeless place, and they have this whole well-sustained community that is just floating on the water. So one of the good parts about having my mom with me when I went over to participate in my fellowship in Africa was my mom is also a teacher. And so this year my mom actually wrote for her own grant with Fun for Teachers, and she was approved. So I'm going to go with her just like she came with me, and it's going to be a great time just further basking in all that can come out of great teacher professional development.
My name is Akshay Venkatakrishnan. I teach high school science at Dater High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. Gilbert A. Dater High School is one of the high schools in Cincinnati Public Schools. We're located on the west side of Cincinnati, which is a unique population because we attract students from all over the city. And for my Fun for Teachers experience, I traveled to 15 dark sky zones in the United States to study cultural archaeoastronomy to create an astronomy course for my class. And it's a great time to be a science teacher because we are really leaning into the IB principles of inquiry and research, and students are really embracing that approach and learning to work with people from all around the world with perspectives that are different than them and embracing that global perspective. So I started in a dark sky zone in Texas called Big Bend. It's one of the darkest skies in the world. From there I went to visit the VLA, the Very Large Array in New Mexico, and visited a few dark sky zones along the way through Joshua Tree, up toward Yosemite, where I got to enjoy a cultural astronomy program led by one of their storytellers in the park. From there I went north and then came back east. So throughout that whole month journey, I got to experience every part of the moon cycle and the star cycle. One of the challenges with astronomy is that it's best learned during the nighttime. And so one of the ways I wanted to leverage the experience was to bring back photos and videos of what I could see and also inspire my students to try it out for themselves. We also took a dive into our own past and learned about the history of astronomy throughout all of our cultures, and we visited Serpent Mound Memorial in Ohio, which is a place where you can study the solstice and equinox. So it's really important for me that students have authentic learning experiences. I often get asked, like, can we go all together in the future, which would be amazing. So I think I learned a lot about myself in just believing that I could do what I set my mind to. And it gave me a lot of inspiration to come back to students and give more authentic experiences because I had experienced the things that we were talking about myself.
I am Tracy Huggins. I'm a visual art teacher in Milford, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. I was so honored to travel to Bali, Indonesia to attend the Mindfulness and Education Retreat with Dr. Elizabeth Irwin. It was 10 days full of meeting wonderful educators from around the world, learning mindfulness practices, putting that into use, and getting to experience different school settings in Bali. We got to attend the Green School, a primary school, a preschool, a high school, which we learned different practices with philosophy and education. My fellowship is going to extend past my classroom in many various ways. This year we focused all about Bali and pockets of mindfulness in every lesson that the kids learn. And these were things I pulled back from my mindfulness and education retreat. We focused more on the process of the art making and not the product. The Kiwanis Club of my city approached me to create recycle cans for various playgrounds and parks. This reminded me of the Green School in Bali. Everything is eco-friendly, compost friendly, everything is just to help the environment and nature because we are one with it. My sixth graders this year, we painted pottery bowls and they wrote poetry about empathy, and their word was nourishment. And that again stems back from my time at Bali. We painted the bowls and they were sold for the first time ever at our art show this year, and I'm proud to say that the sixth graders raised over $1,000 for Feed Our Flock. It really connected the dots for my kids, and I'm really proud that those bowls, which people from all over the community purchased, will be a reminder to them and to my sixth graders for many years to come of what powerful, art making can be.
My name is Chesley Booth. I teach at Northmont High School in the Northmont School District, and with my fellowship I was lucky enough to travel to both Crete and Santorini, Greece. One of the unseen benefits of my fellowship was that, yes, when I went to Greece, my intention was to further my knowledge about Greek mythology and bring it back to the classroom, but it also gave me a lens in which to introduce other topics that would hook my students on some of these traditional canon pieces, such as Romeo and Juliet. We pulled in Tupac and we talked about, and we challenged the students to think, is this line from Tupac or is this line from Shakespeare? And it really helped my students see the universality of telling these age-old tales in conjunction with things that they are used to. We talk about it as mirrors and windows, being able to see ourselves reflected back to us in a story, but also the importance of being able to look out and learn new things from other stories that you may not see yourself in. Using what I learned during my fellowship, I was able to come back and teach the Odyssey not only with a lot more enthusiasm and new knowledge that I learned through the experiences on my fellowship, but we were also able to partner with our drama club, and we presented a play about Greek mythology that was, we made some tweaks based on what I had learned, and then we were able to present it to the entire freshman class at an in-school field trip. What did I learn about myself on this trip is that I kind of shifted my focus towards my students and thinking, what could I do that I could bring back to them that not only would be cool for a 42-year-old English teacher, but also for 15-year-old kids. And I learned that if you really start to think through their eyes, you find things that you can share with them that make them connect to the content more than they have in the past.
My name is Emily Carter, and I work at the Dayton Regional STEM School in Kettering, Ohio, and I teach 6th grade science.
Hi there, I'm Sarah Paul. I teach at the Dayton Regional STEM School as well here in Kettering, Ohio. I teach 6th grade social studies, and we had the great opportunity to go to Costa Rica and Panama last summer to experience some great culture and learn about sustainability and learn about different landforms that our students can't see here in the state of Ohio.
This year we were able to pull so many different things into the classroom from our trip. I know for me personally as a science teacher, it was so amazing to be able to see one of the smallest but most diverse ecosystems in the world, and I was able to bring in like lots of real authentic pictures and stories. When we learned about our biology unit, we were able to talk about the Panama Canal. It was just a good reminder of how small we are in the world, and we could bring that back to our students to inspire them to travel and to learn from traveling.
I feel that through this fellowship we were able to, I personally was able to grow in my confidence as a teacher and an educator. Having the opportunity to build this professional development experience around specific topics and things that we were interested in, I feel as if now I have the opportunity to think a little bit more outside of the box, dream a little bit bigger, because I know that there are foundations and groups of people who are willing to help and support teachers to build these opportunities and experiences to help better themselves and their students.
Hola, bienvenidos al Salón de Español de la Señora Cotto. Welcome to the Spanish class.
Hola, me llamo Malenis Cotto. My school name is William Rainey Harper. It's from the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and I went to Southern Italy for my experience. My experience, I went to Southern Italy, which might result a little bit different because I am a Spanish teacher. So the connection between my fellowship is that the Moors or the Arabic language influence a lot of the Spanish vocabulary words, but then I wanted to know how do they influence the Italian words and what is the connection between the three languages. And so I had to be a risk taker and take a risk in learning a language that is not my language, and then go to that country and experience firsthand what happens when you're in a different country, learning a different language, and learning about the culture. So I was able to bring back to my students, first of all, it created a connection between the three languages, and it also created a connection with my students. During this experience, I learned about myself that I can take risk, as well as my students take risk in my class, speaking a different language, learning completely different cultural aspects of the language. I did the same thing. I learned that my students struggle sometimes trying to speak a different language, so I had to do the same, go there, speak their language, learn their culture.
Oliver, what do you think goes in there? What three letters? Tell me. C-K-E? Close, but no. That's what Solani has.
And I learned that everything is possible once you are experiencing the learning firsthand. One way that I can leverage my experience and bring it back to the classroom to the students, I learned when I went to the experience what arancini balls were in Italy and how the Moors influenced the culinary experience in Italy. So I brought that experience back to my students. I bought a few spices from Italy, and then we cook our own arancini balls after doing research. My students researched what they were, what are they made for, how were they introduced to the Italian cuisine, and then we cook our own arancini balls.
I'm Angie Germano and I teach science.
I'm Bridget Royce and I teach 5th grade math.
And we both work at Westlake City Schools.
One way we leveraged our fellowship to bring an authentic learning experience back to students was when we were out at our fellowship, we went kayaking on the Cumberland River, which is near Nashville, and we were taking 360 videos while we were out there as a part of our attempt to bring nature and these experiences that students maybe can't go to on their own back to the classroom. We saw some boats out on the river, and it got us to thinking about, we had gone out with the intent to show students outdoors, different ecosystems, but then we saw these boats and we thought what a great challenge it would be to come back to the classroom for students to be able to design and build their own boats and think about how different scientific and mathematic principles apply to making a boat float.
One thing we got out of this fellowship was taking 360 videos of local ecosystems and bringing them back to our students to make it kind of fun to go outside. A lot of kids are so stuck on their cell phones, they don't realize that's an option. So getting them excited, being like, I want to try that, and then going outside on our own campus. We've been using our garden area the whole year, so at the beginning with scientific method, and then when I talked ecosystems, and then kind of as a wrap up for the whole year. Let's go back one more time in nature, think about all the fun things we did, and write a reflection about that. So this fellowship kind of allowed us to wrap everything together for them in a nice package.
My name is Bethany Berg. I'm an 8th grade English Language Arts teacher at Brooklyn High School. This is my 16th year of teaching and my 3rd year here at Brooklyn. My fellowship was a journey to Puerto Rico to visit extended family of my Puerto Rican students and explore the educational system there to bridge the gap between Puerto Rico and my students here at Brooklyn. One way I was able to leverage my experience in Puerto Rico with the learning of my students when I came back was that it allowed me to just give them space and trust my students to do their own teaching. So the idea was that we would create a unit together and then they would teach with me and co-teach. I had a unique experience in La Perla where I got to stay with a family that had been there for generations. And so a gentleman walked me around during the day, and in the evening he took me to drum circles where people were performing different dances that represented the history of Puerto Rico. One thing I learned about myself through my fellowship was to stay open and to really listen. One unique aspect of Puerto Rico is, of course, the rainforest, El Yunque, and I got to experience that through a journey through the rivers, and I jumped off cliffs and swam through the rivers and hiked through the rainforest, and that really helped me to understand how different the landscape of Puerto Rico is from what we have here in Brooklyn. This learning will extend beyond my classroom in several different ways. One, it inspires me to go to other areas where we're very lucky here. We have a very diverse population, so it's inspiring me to go to other areas and learn about my students' background.
Hi, my name is Bridget McCarthy. I am a kindergarten teacher that teaches at Mound Elementary School within the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. For my traveling fellowship, I traveled to Thailand to a BeFit Treat convention. The BeFit Treat convention was it was kind of like a fitness retreat, and during that I had a lot of one-on-one training, personal training in Muay Thai, and then as well as the one-on-one training, I also had opportunities to expose myself into their yoga classes, their different HIIT training classes, the different powerlifting. Another way that I was able to expand on this, my convention and my experience in Thailand was connecting this movement with STEM. I had an opportunity to work with the Cavs at their STEM night, and I had my students come out and teach different families and different vendors their dance. And how that connects to the STEM and them creating this fitness video, and how we can use these different manipulatives such as hula hoops or balancing boards to reinforce our letter recognition and as well as creating the video that was created. And that has definitely been something beyond the classroom that I am really proud of, because I don't think I would have done this again without that opportunity of stepping outside of my box and going to Thailand. I learned a lot about myself during this whole retreat and this whole convention. I learned independence. I am generally asking a lot of questions, like, do you think I should do this? And so me making choices was a little harder before attending this retreat. Now I'm feeling real confident with the choices I make and just really excited about my thoughts and feeling proud and knowing that I can actually do what I put my mind to.
I really can't express my gratitude enough for the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation and Fun for Teachers. I think the thing that has really been important for me is their trust in me as an educator to know what my students really need.
I'm so grateful to Martha Holden Jennings and for Fun for Teachers, because these are two organizations that truly care about teachers and they value us and they make us feel like professionals. And without them, I would not have had this amazing experience.
Support, apply, and try to travel, dream big, and write that grant.
My fellowship with Martha Holden Jennings Foundation and Funds for Teachers has absolutely been a life-changing experience for me as a teacher and as a human in general.
I would like to say gracias to the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation and the Fund for Teachers for such a life-changing experiences. My students and I are very appreciative. Thank you so much.